Good morning, Laura. So good to see you.
Good morning, Maria.
I'm very, very excited to talk to you today. Today, I have Laura Sagnier with me, and I'll introduce her in a minute. But the reason why we are having this collaboration today is because I am devoting the month of July to the R of relations of the SMART model. And I'm very excited because we have some announcements of some collaborations with Laura. Laura is an amazing person, very known for her efforts on gender equality in Spain, and she's a researcher. So she has an impressive track record, such as she has been awarded with Top Voices Equality by LinkedIn News. And she has spoken and invited to speak in national news and the radio, and she's very active in this field. So Laura, can you introduce yourself, please, with a few words?
Yes, I think that the most important is that my life has two different stages. The first one was fully dedicated to work in a company which is called PRM Market Intelligence. So I have been doing market intelligence in my professional life. The thing is that I started in PRM with 22 years after having had a license in economics. And after 30 years, I have been working there. And the last years, I was the manager, partner, and CEO of the company. I explain all this because I think it's important that at that age, I was 47 years old. And doctors obliged me to quit working. And these 2 years I had to be out of my professional life. I decided to do a research with the same methodologies and techniques I have been using for my clients in the 20 countries I have been working for. And it's important because this research completely changed my life. So after that, after seeing the results of the research, I decided that I had to explain that to the world, and I became an activist. So now I have this duality. I am still a researcher, which is what I like the most doing because it's the thing that I know how to do. But now I try to explain to women what we learned in that research, and from that, I also did three more researches. So that's the reason why I am here today with you, Maria, because I am an activist.
You're a researcher and an activist and a wonderful person as well. So tell me a bit, a lot of people already know about the glass ceiling. This idea, well, you can already explain it as well, but not so many people know about the concrete slab, which is right behind you over there. Can you explain the difference between the two and go deeper about the concrete slab, which you have sort of introduced?
Yes, the glass ceiling is something that is situated in the company you are working, or is the professional sphere of our lives. And it means all these barriers that women face in their companies to go up in the organization. So one of the main differences between this glass ceiling that I started to read about when I was doing the research is that this glass ceiling is only affecting a very few women, because those places in the top management of the companies are not so much, are small for men and women, no? So in fact, this glass ceiling that appears to be the most discriminating things regarding women's life, in my research, one of the conclusions is that the most important thing, of the most important barrier, happens at home and not in your professional life. So that's the reason why I invented that concept of the concrete slab, because these concrete slabs happens at home. Happens between happens because there is a high differentiating, or the relationship is not correct enough in terms of how much does woman and men at home.
Mhm.
So one of the most relevant things of the concrete slab is that the amount of women that it affects. In Spain, out of the women that live with a man, 70% are suffering this non-equilibrated relationship in doing the tasks at home. But in Portugal, which is a country that I have also been studying very deeply, the amount of women living with a man that are in the position of the woman I have in the illustration behind is 75%. So we are not talking about a small proportion of population, but of many, many women that I am sure that in other countries are similar proportions.
Yes. Yeah, I think this is also the case in many other countries. I'm sure maybe there's not so many studies but I'm sure a lot of the people that are listening to this have the same issues. They in English sometimes they call it the invisible load, which includes also the emotional part of leading a house and dealing with emotions of the kids and so on, which I also talk a lot about. So tell me, what are the consequences of this for women? Have you gone a little bit deeper into this?
Yes, Maria, but because I think that the consequences are the most important thing, because it's very important, and I am advancing in the answer, but it's very important that women are aware that they are charging this concrete slab, because in many cases we don't even know until it's very late. Okay. This concrete slab affect that the first thing is that the day has 24 hours. If women are doing double or triple tasks of the home and of caring of kids or old parents that are dependent, this means that women have very few time for them to take care of them, or even to do the basics, no? So this is affecting many women in terms of physical and psychical consequences to the health. I am sure you know, or many people know, that we are more, woman is more medicated in most of the countries. And the pandemic of the COVID was like the I don't know how to say that, but
Explosion.
the
Yeah.
explosion.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is a very serious thing. In fact, at the age of 47, I passed through a burnout. So, and this is because I really thought, or I really believed that I was a superwoman. I could do everything, and I could do everything perfect, no? So I always use this example because I I charge this concrete slab, and without knowing, without noticing, until I had to stop mandatory with 47. No? So this is the most important negative consequences. But there is, I am sure that this is going to sound very familiar to many of the audience, is that many women have to quit working to take care of the kids, because it arrives a moment that where she cannot do everything, no?
Mhm.
And this affects not only my career or my professional career, but also is going to affect my economy,
Mhm.
and it's going to affect my economy today and in the future. So we have to think a lot on that, because these consequences must be maybe very bad for women. And all these are things that affect the woman. But the concrete slab also affects the relationship between the woman and the partner. And with very frecuentemente, no sé how
Yeah.
to say that,
Often.
very often, this affects the sexual and affective relationship. which is very bad because we know that this is a very important thing in the relationships, no? And we have to take care of this before this ends of affecting to the relationship. And also it's very bad for the kids, if we have kids, because they see an example of non-equity between the mother and the father. So if we tell them, women and men, you are going to have the same opportunities at life, women are not going to believe because they see that their mother is not doing the same things that the father, because she's quitting, seeing the friends, going to the gym, and doing things that really she needs to be in health, no?
Yes.
And lately, this also affects the society because in the companies, there are women having sick leaves, which this has to be organized and paid by the company. But also this has lots of costs for the social security because this problem affects the health of the woman. And this also affects the birth rate. So it's like a
It's a
mm,
it's a yeah, it's a huge ball. It's a ball that keeps growing and growing. Yeah, there's so many things that you said that resonate, this idea of how can you not be stressed if you have a first shift at work and then you go home and then you have a second shift, so you need to keep working. It's just too much. It's not meant to be like that. And I saw a post by The Economist, this very famous magazine, which said how how motherhood affects or hurts careers. And I thought, motherhood doesn't affect careers. It's the lack of policies, the lack of support, the complete inequity at home. Like, that we think that women have to do both. It's outrageous because it's just not possible. It's just simply not possible without what you said. A lot of sick leaves, a lot of stress, a lot of medication, addiction problems, and so on and so on, and probably even much more things that you have mentioned. So so this is so important that we're talking about this because it affects so many of us, including myself. And I really, really like what you said about the superwoman syndrome, which I also had. And I really liked what you said about not being conscious about this. Like, I also didn't see many of this. I also
no,
thought
no.
I had to make dinner every day because that's what my mother did. My dad never cooked, ever. I've never seen my dad in the kitchen, never in my life. So in my head, without nobody telling me, I thought it's my responsibility, so I have to do it. And even in the moments when we change roles with my husband, I said, how about you cook this month? Still, I am trying to control unconsciously. I still suggest, oh, we should have this for dinner. You should buy this before the dinner. So I'm still trying to control it. It's such a powerful ingrained system that we keep. It's so difficult to change. It really requires a lot of effort. Yeah.
It's very, very difficult. But the thing is that women are now educated like being a man in working and being still a woman at home. Whereas men are educated in the same way than our parents, only taking into account the professional life, no?
Mm.
So this is it's making a very complex reality because the expectations of women and men when they go to live together is is very different. So we have to change that since the first day, and I
Mm.
think we are going to take later to talk later about that.
Yeah, let's go into this because we are collaborating on a number of tools, and you've created a number of tools which I found so useful, and I've been using for my smart parenting course already since last year. Tell me a bit about what the three tools that you've created and we have translated together.
See, what I learned is that many women were were feeling, or they were telling me I am like the woman in the illustration, no? So what we created is a tool that you can answer to, no, that you have to answer together with your
Uh-huh.
partner, which is called the equity thermometer. And it's an interview that is in average, people is answering in between 10-12 minutes. Some, very few, arrive to 20 because they need more time to agree with the answer they are going to put, no? But the most relevant of the equity thermometer is that your partner is not thinking that you want to beat on him, because you are answering together a tool that someone in Spain developed, no? So this is important because the intention is done by a third person, no? And I am very happy because this thermometer have been answered by more than 9,000 couples of 35 countries. So this means that one couple is talking to the friend that probably this is going to help, no? Of course, the thermometer is not the solution. Is only the breaking point, because
The starting
apart
point.
from that,
The starting point,
you
no?
the starting point of a new life, which is not going to be easy, because the example you gave before is very important, but is very relevant to have a starting point objective that helps, because one of the things that surprised me most in my first research is how women and men can see the same thing so differently.
Mm.
Most men living with a woman think they are doing half of the job at home and half of the job with kids. Whether if we talk with the woman, they say she woman is doing the triple than he.
Mhm.
So and many times this is because we are not able to evaluate correctly the work that is done by other.
Mhm.
And when we talk about the mental load, this is completely
You.
clear, no? It's very obvious.
Mhm.
So I think that the thermometer is really a tool that is helping people. And there are like many eh, terapeutas
Couple
couple
therapist. Couple
therapists
therapist.
that are using the thermometer
Mm.
in the first meetings with their clients.
Nice. Yes, and we also have translated your ebook, which gives some parameters on how to. It's basically, so if the thermometer is the starting point, the ebook goes deeper, and then also some sort of draft contract on agreements. And I love that so much, because it is true. We have contracts for when we go into a job. We negotiate. We always negotiate when we're going to a new job. But we hardly talk about all of these things. There's something like unspoken expectations and unspoken rule on. I don't know why it is. I don't know if it's fear based. I'm afraid of bringing this up because maybe my partner will leave me. I don't know what it is. It's just not very cultural, but we don't talk about the details of who will do what, when, and how. And it's so basic, which that's why I also work on this in my smart parenting course under the pillar of relationships and roles. So tell me about the ebook and the contract.
Okay. No, first of all, I am very happy, and because Maria said that the thermometer was okay, it was already in English, but she thought that, and I completely agree, it's very important to be able to know in which condition is better to answer the thermometer. Which things we have to know. So this ebook is explaining which is the best moment to do that. And so we recommend that you read the ebook that now, thanks to Maria, is translated already in English. That you read all the ebook before doing before answering the thermometer with your couple, if you are already living together. But if you are not living together, or you are living but you want to revise some things, also you will see this contract that we developed it with a specialist in Spain, but most of the things are available in other countries, no? And I think that the reason why we are not talking about all these things is because we have seen so many Disney movies where prince marries the princess. They have a nice party and that's all, no? And in reality, love is necessary, but it's not enough if we want to create a solid and durable relationship, no? So it's really very important to talk about all the relevant things in our personal and partnership life before having kids, because when we have kids, the thing complicates is much more complicated, no? So
Absolutely.
I think that thanks to Maria, you will now be able to read all this information. And I really think we have to do that effort, previous woman, and then do the thermometer, but we have to be already prepared to answer to the thermometer with our partner.
Yes. No, this is great. And I'm working with a few couples slash single potential parents, just individuals that want to be parents and they're exploring. And one of the things that I'm doing with that is I'm asking them, so this is a focus group discussion. I'm asking them, how do they talk about these things? Because if you're not, for example, ready to talk about bringing the idea of having a baby, it's probably not a good moment to have a baby if you can't even talk about having a baby with your partner. And some people do, and some people do. So there is this idea of the more that you could talk, the more that you can talk, because love is not enough. You need also communication for every relationship, by the way. Love is not enough for any relationship. Also with your kids, you also need communication. You need a lot of things. But communication is key, and we need to go over those fears, because at the end of the day, I think there's a lot of fear that if I bring this up, the other person will react. But it's so much better. I think what we just made a post and it says kids don't prevent divorces, equality at home does. And I think there's a huge correlation between couples that are actually talking about this and satisfying results and actually well-being and good relationships and good outcomes in the sense of quality and long-term relationships. So there is a correlation between that. I think you probably have seen that, or you've researched around that. We have a couple more minutes. Is there anything else do you want to add?
The only thing, and this is very important for women, is that I am convinced after 5 years of dedicating my spare time to that, is that if you don't lead the private sphere of your life, it's an utopia that you will manage to lead the other spheres, even the professional one, or even the others, no? So it's really important that you take this as a new objective for the year. It's not going to be easy at the beginning, but probably in the short term, everybody in the family will be happier and healthier.
Yes, yes. So nice. And I would add also to think about delegating, because that's like the third part of the division of labor we never really think about. Also, leading also means delegating. It also means working with others and accepting that others might do things differently. So that's also one of the things that I teach. Sometimes the father and the mother, and of course we're talking about heterosexual couples, but it might be father and father or mother and mother. But in this case, it's more visible when it's heterosexual couples, of course. You know, they might both work outside of the home. They might both have very, very intense positions. So sometimes you also need to think, who else can help us, you know, especially if you're an expat and you don't have family around. So really think about who else use the money to support you in lifting this and carrying this concrete slab, because it does take a village, and sometimes we don't have the village around. So I always tell my clients to buy the village if you have the money. If you're both working outside and have enough money, there is also options of asking for help, and that is also a key sign of leadership, asking for help and delegating for others.
You see, probably the best way of investing your money for this crucial period of life.
Yes,
Better than going to restaurants or to the cinema or holidays. This is the best
yes,
way of investing.
absolutely. Well, Laura, thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I'll see you soon. I'm sure we will do more collaborations in the future.
Thank you, Maria.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye.